Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Advancing Oceanside Podcast, brought to you by the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce. The Advancing Oceanside Podcast hosts business and community leaders from all industries to help inform, better educate, and ultimately advocate for a prosperous economic climate here in Oceanside. Today's guest joins us from Oceanside's thriving photography industry. Marcy Browe, founder and owner of Marcy Browe Photography, provides us with details on how to find your niche in the industry, shares some tips on how to style your subject, and shows us some of Oceanside's hidden location gems. So, without further ado, let's get started. Thank you for joining us today for our Advancing Oceanside podcast. My name is Hannah Gilbert, and today with us we have a very special guest, Marcy Browe with Marcy Browe Photography. Hey Marcy, how you doing?
Hi, Hannah. Thank you. I'm great. Thanks for the opportunity to chat with you and the Chamber audience.
Yes, we're super excited to have you here today. So you are in the photography industry, obviously. So let's just start with you kind of giving us a little background about yourself. How did you get into marketing first and then eventually into photography?
Sure. So I kind of got into photography first and then followed the marketing path. So my grandfather made his living as a professional photographer, and I have a few of his many cameras behind me. So I was born into a family where photography was very accessible, and I had his cameras to learn with. That was definitely before the days of digital, because these are my grandfather's cameras. I think the latest and greatest was one of his from the 70s, maybe the 80s. But I never thought of my hobby as a career. I was really interested in advertising and marketing, and I went and got a degree in advertising because I wanted to make commercials on TV.
Absolutely.
I ended up working more in the marketing business, and I was in marketing in like the .com era when everybody was like marketing and hiring and money was no obstacle. So it was fast paced and fun. And then 15 years of that, I was just like, whoa, time out. This is getting a little bit hectic, and burning out feelings were happening. So I said, okay, it might be really time to take this passion of mine and see if I could turn it into a business. And that was 7 years ago. So that's been my very abridged journey to where I am right now.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a great background story. And it's really fun to hear kind of how everybody got their start and what they're passionate about. So I know that obviously you're very passionate about what you do. So that's awesome.
Yes.
So I know that you kind of shoot for a brand specific audience. Can you kind of tell me about what the difference between shooting brand specific and then just general photography, portrait photography or anything else?
Sure. So I've done all the kinds of photography, just really trying to find kind of what my niche is. And I discovered really quickly that I loved brand photography because it really drew upon what I went to school for and had my career in, which was marketing. So the simple way to think of it is when you think of branding or personal branding photography, really that's photography done to market yourself. So whereas a wedding photographer, we're all very clear on what that kind of person does. There's a lot of really cool different types of photographers. There's some photographers that just photograph like itty bitty newborns. There's other photographers that do boudoir photography, which is women that are celebrating their bodies. And then there's people that do architectural photography or real estate photography. But what I've decided to do is like really specifically photograph people who want to market themselves. So what's really fun about that kind of photography is I get to talk to entrepreneurs, business owners, teams of people, sometimes even large companies. Like we have a local one, Viasat, that's really huge, and some other companies that are more B2B that we might not know the name of. But it all comes down to how do you want to present yourself to the outside world, and really coming up with photos that capture how you want to market and brand yourself.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's really great insight, especially because I know branding is so important to any business and to make sure that everything kind of ties together. It's really awesome, and it's awesome that you can bring that to them. um, could you tell us some tips for, capturing the best picture? Is there certain clothing you should wear or a certain way girls should do their makeup? Just kind of give
Sure.
us little tips on that.
Sure. Well, I love we're talking about makeup and clothes
Mhm.
because that's the first question I get asked, whether it's a man or a woman or a team of people. The first question I get asked is, "What are we going to wear?"
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and not so. What I always say is, you know, if you had a meeting, a lunch meeting back when we actually had lunches in person,
Yeah.
but I say if you had a lunch meeting with your ideal client, or you were going out to brunch perhaps with your
Mhm.
favorite girlfriend, what would you wear to really show up in that situation? Because a lot of times people think that in order to be corporate or businessy, they need to wear a suit or a blazer, or for men, they're like, I have to wear a tie. But truly, especially because we live in Southern California, we don't work on Wall Street. So the suit and tie, really, unless you're an attorney,
Mhm.
that you probably don't need to dress like super corporate or super stiff, but truly letting your personality come out. And
Okay.
another hint is a lot of times people, they want to wear black. They have a lot of black in their wardrobe. Or sometimes people, it's very common that people say they only have navy, gray, black, or white.
Mhm.
That seems to be kind of a basic, safe color palette. But I love, for instance, your perfect example, Hannah. I love
Mhm.
what you're wearing because you have a really cool statement top on with jewelry, but yet you look very professional and polished, and you could literally go on a job interview,
Mhm.
with what you're wearing. So I always encourage people to be a little bit more creative. Pops of color are great, and actually with makeup too,
Mhm.
a lot of times I will hire a hair and makeup person, professional, to
Nice.
do
Mhm.
the hair and makeup, mostly with my women clients. Some men get that too. Actually, when it's a man, they call it grooming.
Yes.
So, but mostly women. And
Mhm.
I can show you a couple of before and after photos of
Yeah.
people. Let me share my screen. So I am a big blogger. So everything I talk with you about today, it probably lives on my blog somewhere. So if you go to my website, which is marcybrowe.com, my blog here. So this is one because I love talking about the power of makeup. So what I like to show people is that makeup shouldn't, you're not supposed to look like someone different. So I love these before and afters because it shows that with a little bit of professional makeup and hairstyling, you just look like a polished version of yourself. So that's why I love showing these examples, because it's for women, young and old.
Mhm.
Really just, not trying to be something that you're not, just making yourself look just a little bit like you're having your best day ever. So that's what I like to encourage people when they get hair and makeup done. And that's part of the photo shoot for a lot of my clients is
Mhm.
they get their hair and makeup done. So that really helps people feel like they're having what I like to call a magazine worthy photo shoot.
Mhm.
And because these pictures are going to live on for a long time. And but it's
Absolutely.
also important, not to, for me to over Photoshop photos, or for you to do something crazy that you wouldn't do in real life. Because especially at the chamber, Hannah, I know you've
Mhm.
met people where you see their photo on a business card or a website or on a directory listing, and then you meet them in person, you're like, what? This is not the
Yes.
person that you say that you are in your photos. So it's
Mhm.
really important to just honor where you are in the moment, even if you are, all of us are getting older. Every day we wake up a little bit
Right.
older, and some people aren't at their ideal weight. But really, truly, it's important just to honor where you are, maybe polish it a little bit and make it look
Mhm.
as best as you can, but don't try to be something that you're not.
Right. And I love that authenticity message. And I think that really can come through with, especially photographers like you who are trying to grab the person in the inside and bring that out in a picture. So I think that's really awesome. And to say what you're wearing today, your shirt is complementing your eyes perfectly. So I think that that's a great example as well of what you're talking about is the polished
Exactly.
look. So yeah, that's really, really nice.
Exactly.
Um, So here in Oceanside, I know obviously you shoot around all of North County, but here in
Yep.
Oceanside, the pier is a great place for everybody to take their pictures. But can you tell us some other spots that might be, kind of hidden gems here in Oceanside?
Oh, yes. This is a great question because as a photographer, I used to, before I really niched down into branding, I used to photograph a ton of families.
Mhm.
And Oceanside's really special because we attract a lot of family reunions and people that live in different parts of the state or even in different states. And they come to Oceanside a lot of times in the summer or over the holidays because we have these amazing houses right on the beach that people can rent. So
Mhm.
I'm going to share another. I'm going to share another screen with you because I do have some examples a of where I love. So here are my favorite places to photograph in Oceanside.
I
So I'm going
love
to
that.
start with the beach
Mhm.
because we're a beach town. And again, on my blog, I have a couple of really great tips for shooting at the beach. Because if anyone's tried to photograph at the beach midday and it's really sunny, that's a photographer's nightmare. So, the best thing to do is to find a little bit of shade. So, see this woman on the left of the screen? She's kind of nuzzled in. Her name is Tamara, and she's a local retreat and travel planner. And she wanted to look like she was maybe in the Caribbean. So in the background, you'll actually see North Coast Village, which is
Mhm.
a popular neighborhood community. So there's this cool tree. It looks like it could be the Caribbean, but it's really oceanside. And on the right here, this is the beach. This is I call it Army Navy Beach, but it's not really called that. The Army Navy Academy in
Mhm.
Carlsbad. There's a river mouth that separates Oceanside and Carlsbad, and the photos on the right are taken there. I personally like this beach because, as you know, living in Oceanside during high tide, a lot of our beaches don't have sand. The water comes right up to the rocks. So this is a great beach, the quote unquote Army Navy beach. I'm
Mhm.
going to quickly run through. So here's some other beach spots. This is
Mhm.
Tower 11, which is right. This is kind of like sort of South Oceanside. Fun fact about these two, they got married on November 11th. So they wanted photos at this tower because it had 1111
That's
on it.
cute.
So here's a trick that I like to share with people. Looking for shade. Sometimes when you photograph people, it's really bright on the beach, it's not flattering. So this family is standing in the shadow of this lifeguard tower. This is near the harbor. So shade is great for photos on the beach. And so this family is in the same exact spot. It was taken on a different day. You'll see the pier in the background, but you'll notice that they're standing in the shadow of this
Mhm.
lifeguard tower. So I took this early in the morning, and then putting people in the shade is much more flattering. Same thing, this family, they're really in the shade. So
Mhm.
that's a huge tip I would like to give. I'm going to go quickly through this. It's
Of
also
course.
see this is the North Jetty that separates the harbor from the sand, and they're sitting on the rocks. Another place that I love to photograph is Mission San Luis Rey. And so this is one of the oldest missions, and we're lucky enough to have it here in Oceanside. And surprisingly enough, it's on Mission Ave. So Mission San Luis Rey is a beautiful spot. You have to be respectful when you go there because it is an active church and you don't want to be
Mhm.
running around with loud kids. So if you are going to photograph there, just come with respect and knowing that you're at a sacred location. This is a great place to do group photos. They have lots of cool, like large cactus and really, really great architecture. So, Mission San Luis Rey, they have really neat walking paths. And just the architecture is great there. I love that location.
Mhm.
Another location is South Oceanside. So, one of our hippest neighborhoods in Oceanside, there's a lot of really cool urban vibes. There's a lot of great murals. So, South Oceanside, this woman is a real estate agent. So, I put her in front of this door. Lots of great street cityscapes if you're looking for an urban vibe.
Mhm.
My favorite park in Oceanside is Buddy Todd Park.
Mhm.
They have this amazing tree. It's a pepper tree. On the left, the family is standing under this tree. Any time of day that you go to this park, there's beautiful places to do photos, and it's truly my favorite. I feel like it's a hidden gem in Oceanside. So, again, this tree, I put everybody under this pepper tree, and that's my photo shoot spot.
Mhm.
Another great park is Guahomi Park. And
Mhm.
what I like about Guahomi is they have a lot of walking paths. So I always put people, they can like run and walk on these paths. And then Oceanside is home to many murals. This is an Oceanside Chamber member. His name is Quantal Langford, so shout out to Quantal. Um, we did photos for him in the spring, and we used some murals. How amazing is this mural?
Yes.
This is painted on the side of Community. It's a yoga studio, and it's in South Oceanside. This is more of a mosaic mural, and it's downtown. It's at the backside of the Regal Theater. And then this mural is painted on the side of the Wet Noodle in South Oceanside. So lots of really cool murals. Oh, and here's yours truly proposing. I had my own branding photo shoot, and I posed in front of this mural. It's outside of Ray's Case in Central Oceanside. Okay, another great place is the Amtrak Station. You guys, this is a bus station, train station. It is gritty, gross. There's like lots of interesting characters, but there's a cool tunnel that is underneath the train tracks. So when you're going from one side of the tracks to the other, there's this really cool cement tunnel, and it's great if it's like raining out. You can pop people in this tunnel and still get great photos. One of my favorite locations is the Civic Center. So this is where our library is, and also where all of the government action happens in Oceanside. They have really cool tile. This is a group of ladies that have a local real estate company. Again, they have these amazing fountains there. And what I love about the Civic Center is there's lots of white. And as a photographer, having a white wall with the sun bouncing on that and reflecting that light back into your client's face is a dream come true. So I do lots of photos here at the Civic Center. I think that's my last location. I use this location all the time. And I do have to say, so that is my last location, but I will say that Oceanside is very relaxed and chill. You can pretty much take your dog anywhere, and you can photograph almost anywhere as long as you're respectful. And I will say that makes it different than some of our neighboring cities. I won't mention any names, but as a photographer, it's really tricky to photograph in some of our neighboring cities because dogs aren't allowed in some city parks, and they're really strict. You need permits to shoot some places, but Oceanside, I think that really represents the whole vibe of Oceanside in general. We're way more laid back, less rules, just more open. Just you do your thing and just be cool, and we'll let you go. So
yeah, and looking at those photos, I mean, I really felt like I could understand the different people. I mean, when you're saying the real estate agent I mean, you shot her in front of a door, and I mean, just putting the marketing materials together, that's awesome. And for her whole entire branding strategy, I mean, that's amazing. And something so simple, you don't even think that it's so simple, but it could really make such an impact on them and what they're doing. So that's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
I know you gave some great tips in there for photography locations, but do you have any other tips for anybody who's looking to get into the industry or maybe into the industry here in Oceanside?
Sure. Well, there's a thriving photography community in Oceanside. There are some really great meetups that happen if you're just interested in kind of, getting other photographers to help you search on Meetup. There's also really great content online. And if no matter where you live, there's a just a thriving community of people that are willing to help out other photographers, and I get hit up all the time on Instagram. Other photographers will ask me questions, and I'm an open book. I think that maybe in the past people were a little more protective of like their locations or what equipment they used or how did you get permission there. It's like I feel like when you help other people, it just, as a community, we all rise by helping others. So I think if you want to get into photography, just ask someone that's doing what you want to do. Ask them, follow them, just pick their brain. And also, for anybody who lives anywhere, one of the best websites that really helped me when I was learning from a professional level. It's called Creative Live, and it's free. And you can go on and watch all kinds of from photography to graphic design to public speaking. It's a great resource. And then, of course, YouTube. There's all kinds of photo educators. And then, it's interesting when you have photography as a hobby. There's a big leap between doing
Mhm.
something for free and as a hobby and then having someone pay you for that. So
Absolutely.
there's a lot to learn from a business building standpoint and networking. So that's what I love about the Oceanside Chamber is it really let me go and dive deep and get to know my fellow business owners. And I have met many amazing clients, and I have gotten lots of referrals and given referrals. So networking is also a huge tool in your toolbox when you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah, and I remember when you shot our headshots at our one young professional event, and that was
Mhm.
amazing. That was the first headshot I had ever taken. So even just doing little things like that is
Yep.
really cool.
Yep.
So if anybody's
Putting yourself out
looking,
there.
yeah, exactly. If anybody's looking to get in contact with you, can you just provide your contact information for us?
Sure. So I'm going to share my screen again
Mhm.
because I have something that I love to share on my website. So the best place to reach me is my website, and that is marcybrowe.com. And then what you could do, there's a video I made. This is my photo studio in Oceanside. That wasn't what I was trying to share with you. But what I wanted to share is at the bottom of my website,
Mhm.
there is an option here. So for us marketers, this is called the opt-in.
Mhm.
But for
Mhm.
anyone else, basically you can enter your name and your email, and then what you'll get is my brand planning guide, and that will help you kind of it's journaling exercises and ideas to prompt you to really go deeper with what is your brand and how do you want people to remember you. And then you can always hit me up on Instagram. My Instagram handle is here. It's Marcy Browe _photo. So my
Mhm.
website and Instagram are really the two places that I hang out in the most. Don't call me because I hate talking on the phone. Text me. I feel like even though I'm not a millennial, I'm a Gen Xer. I feel like a millennial. I'm like, could you just text me or email me?
Right. And it helps you connect with the millennial generation.
For sure.
Well, I appreciate all of your insider tips today. It's been really fun talking to you, and it's been fun to kind of see how you work with people specifically. And then all those examples were really awesome. So thank you so much for being on the podcast today, Marcy, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Hannah. Have a good day, and I'll see you around Oceanside.
Yes. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Advancing Oceanside Podcast, brought to you by the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce. We hope you'll continue with us on our journey to help inform, better educate, and ultimately advocate for our business community. You can view all our other podcasts on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe to catch the latest updates on all things Oceanside. Thank you, and you'll hear from us soon.